Hello, folks, and welcome to WBGO session. And today, a session with a friend of mine who
Oh
stopped
yeah.
by in 2018 when his Blue
Uh,
Note debut came out. And now we're looking at 4 records later, and he's got a
Four
brand
records
new
in,
record
yeah.
out on the Blue Note record label. It's called I Love Life, Even When I'm Hurting. And Dave McMurray grew up in the city of Detroit,
Oh
jazz
yeah.
and soul and funk and electronic and hip hop and rock and so much more.
Oh
And the
yeah.
Chesterfield Club and the Whippoorwill. And
Uh-oh. He's
before
going
that,
back.
one lean green, you make the scene down the gold room of the 20 grand. And
That's the
later on,
place.
Baker's Keyboard Lounge, where David would go. And I want to
Yeah.
welcome this cat to WBGO today. A lot to talk about with Dave McMurray. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. How's it going, Gary?
It's going great.
Yes, yes. That's what we want to hear.
You're out on the road these days with a lot of your Detroit friends, including your longtime friend, bassist, and now he's the head of the Blue Note record label, Don Was. And the two of you go all the way back to Was Not Was and probably even before that, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. And it's a very cool situation too. We've been hitting it for a couple of years now, actually,
Well,
so it's just starting to get real solid.
now here's a tip for you folks. I drove up to Woodstock last summer to see
Yeah.
Don
Oh
Was in the
yeah.
Pan Detroit Ensemble, and that's what David's a part of. And they're coming to the Blue Note. So put in your futures file, January the 12th, they're going to be at the Blue Note
That's
in
the
New
day.
York City. And here's a cat whose first professional gig, I think, was out on the road with the legendary Albert King. But over the
Yes.
years, Dave McMurray has worked with Jerry Allen and Felix Cavallari and Bootsy Collins and Bob Dylan and the Rolling Stones and B.B. King and Iggy Pop and Jose James and countless others. And he brings it all to his performances every time he picks up his saxophone or his flute. And this new recording out on Blue Note is really something. I love life, even when I'm hurting. Talk about the genesis of this recording. There's a lot of cats that are in the Pan Detroit ensemble, right?
Yeah, and that kind of worked into a great situation because I mean, those are my friends, everybody who actually played on the record, well, my friends for, 15, 20 years at least. And so when we were doing that record, it was a good time because we were recording with Pan Detroit, and then the next week we had the equipment still set up. So I came in there with that, with the members that I used of that band, and then I brought my band to, and we all kind of fit in, and we cut 4 songs like that. So we kind of just split it up, and it was a very cool situation. It felt like home, with the guys
Yeah.
and where we were recording.
And it sounds like home too. When
Yeah.
you talk about your Blue Note debut, which was Music is Life, and then this one, I love life, even when I'm hurting. Music tends to do that for you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it does for a lot of folks.
Oh, yes, definitely healing. Yeah, for sure.
Who are the Jungleers?
Yeah, that's a funny question. That's actually the high school that I did not graduate from. It was a school, that I naturally would have went to, but instead I got the scholarship and went to Cranbrook for my last 2 years. So that was the school I left. I had it all my friends were there. I had who I had been with since elementary school, and so here we go. Southeastern Jungleers. We didn't even know what Jungleers were. It was just a cool, it was just a name. And I just thought back to it, just, in going back through life, I see a lot of those guys now. And you know how you see kids who are, the bad kids or the funny kids or whatever, and then you see them grown up, and then you go, "Wow, you turned out great." I mean, you have bad kids
It's
yourself
it's
now.
it's
You're
got
you're
that
cool.
it's got that really hip Afro beat vibe, and on this recording, Don is doing the bass work, and Louis
Oh yeah,
Resto on keyboards. Louis is a cat that you
my
probably
guy.
know if you're familiar with the work of Eminem, because he and Eminem have worked together for a long, long time. Wayne Gerard on guitar. He's also part of the
Yes.
Pan Detroit Ensemble. Jeff Kennedy
Yeah, on drums. Yeah,
On
that's
drums, and Mahindi Masai on percussion. Now, all those
percussion.
cats are part of the Pan Detroit ensemble that are going to be coming to the Blue Note first part of January, but they come together on this new Blue Note recording from Dave McMurray. I love life even when I'm hurting. Just a thought, a gorgeous ballad that goes close to the heart for Dave because it's a tribute to his wife and his daughter.
The
So,
daughter, yeah, for sure.
and
Yeah, that was my.
you listen to that piece, man, and it's got such a soulful, wonderful feel to it.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I felt that was one of those songs I actually sat down, which is, sat down. I'm going to write a song. Like that's very rare that I actually do that. And of course, what happened? They sat down, came up with one little piece, and said, "That's it." I mean, I can't go any further right now, so I left it. Came back the next day, added a little more. Played to it, came back, and I actually developed it. I mean, actually worked on it over the course of a minute with the thought in mind. And that was the demo. But when we went in to record it, it just took on a magic of its own. You
Oh
don't know what
man,
it's gonna be, and then all of a
did
sudden
it ever?
they
I could
started playing. I was like, wow, yeah.
and I can tell that that tune scored big points at the house too.
Oh yeah, well, hopefully it did. It feels good though. When going through it, I had to call the guys up like, "Hey, y'all did really good." It's like, they don't know what they did. It's like, "Oh, what?" They didn't hear it. I was like, "No, you're gonna love it." It's like, and you're gonna be shocked you played it.
What were those early days like? You working with Don Was in the group Was Not Was because they came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, was it walk like a
With
dinosaur, man? Just
Dinosaur.
took the world by storm. That must have been really something special for you
Yeah,
guys.
and we had been working at it a minute, but when I first met him, he had the idea, you know, I wanted to be like if Joe Henderson and Elvin Jones were playing in a punk band, and I'm looking at him like, what? It's like this is the place I need to be, that was upon the first meeting, so he was doing these midnight sessions, and then on the first day of playing, he was like, okay, no, 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 don't play like that. I know what you play like. I want you to play like Real Galaxy. I mean, like, and so all I heard was the bass line and drums. And then he just turned it on and go like, go. And it was, I mean, that's a saxophone player's dream, doing
Yeah.
something like that. And I didn't hear it till a lot, weeks later. When I heard it, I was shocked at how he used it and how he put it to, how he actually put it together. And live, it was the same thing. It was just like a circus,
And that's
a circus of music,
a collaboration, folks, that has been almost 50 years for you guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has because any situation he's kind of been in, he knows what I play like, so he'll go, "Hey, just come." It's like come to California. This is a perfect place, and then and every time it's just like, kind of use your instincts, kind of thing.
And use them well. And I can tell you,
Yeah.
I haven't seen this group up at Woodstock. Boy, they just kicked it, man. They took the old Bearsville studios where countless thousands of great records were made and they turned it into a theater. And that's where I got to see the Pan Detroit Ensemble. We're chatting with Dave McMurray. And speaking of 50 years, you look over your shoulder for 50 years and you come upon the very first recording from Al Jarreau.
Oh yeah.
It really
Oh
set
yeah.
you on fire, right?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely did. Because when it came out, I just thought he was just totally different. I was like, it's like this guy's a different kind of a singer. And when I heard that song, I loved the song. But but upon meeting Kim for the second time, when I first met him, he didn't sound like that. When I hooked up with him the second time, he had this big Al Jarreau influence. I was shocked. And I was like, we could do this song.
And do what they
So
did.
you got by. That was 20 years ago, and
We
then
got by, and it features the vocals of Kim along with Dave McMurray and Ibrahim Jones on the bass, Maurice O'Neill on keyboards. Once again, Jeff Kennedy on the drums, and percussionist Mahindi Masai. We got
Oh
by,
yeah.
and you you got to hear it, folks, and you will hear it because it's a new day, new play on WBGO. We're chatting with Dave McMurray. Talk about the title track and the inspiration for I Love Life, Even When I'm Hurting.
Yeah, it was kind of a conversation. I had a couple of friends that had passed, and I was talking to a mutual friend, and he just kind of was alluding that he thought one of them had given up, like he gave up. And I was like, "What do you really?" And upon knowing that this person, how you imagine him being this big, strong person, and I'm like, "Wow, yeah." And I was like, "I don't know. I love life, even when I'm hurting." I kind of said that, and in my mind, I thought, keep that. It's like it's like keep that in the memory banks. And soon as like when I started recording this record, I thought that title came up, and I just wrote it down.
You got a great
You know,
tribute to drummer Tani Tabal on this recording as well. Seven
yeah.
Wishes for G, which is fabulous. But also talking about the Motor City in Detroit, you can't finish the conversation without talking about some of the legends like Yusef Lateef, and you
Oh,
cover it
yeah.
so well, man, on a
Oh,
couple of
thank you.
tracks. Yusef's own tune, The Plum Blossom, which is a great vehicle for your flute work
Oh
on this
yeah.
new Blue Note recording.
I was such a fan. I saw him early years at Baker's, and I was kind of like at his feet. I was like at the chair right by the stage. And I just loved him because he was a guy who played sax, oboe, and flute. So that's what I wanted to be. So I'm just staring at him. He did not say a word to me either, but he sounded so passionate and big because being that close, you can hear that sound. So close. That's what I remember vividly. And of course being from Detroit, him doing a tribute to Detroit. Of course, he was a Detroit favorite, you know. So yeah,
There's
that
so much great music that came out of Detroit. I can remember WXYZ in Detroit and also across the river,
Dick Burton,
CKLW.
CKLW, yeah, Robin Seymour, yeah, yeah,
Fabulous, fabulous music. We're chatting with Dave McMurray, and the focus on his friends and family and the spirit that he holds so close to his heart when he makes music. It's called I Love Life, Even When I'm Hurting. We're chatting with Dave McMurray this morning on WBGO. Find Your Peace is the one I was thinking of that is dedicated to Tani Tabal, and
Danny.
it kind of has that astral travel kind of vibe to it in a way, right?
Yeah, and that's just what I was feeling. It was funny, and I came up with that at Woodstock upon seeing Tiny because I hadn't saw him in a while, and we hung out like before sound check, and he was just like he reminded me of like he was when we were like kids when we were young when I first met him. He was laughing. At one point he fell on the ground. He's just laughing, like he used to do because he's a kind of an animated guy, drummer type stuff. And I was just staring at him going, wow, this you look great. I'm thinking that in my mind. And then I thought, this was a good move. You left Detroit, but you came to Woodstock, and this was a great place for you. And I just walked right on the stage. It's funny. And I started playing that melody to myself. And I'm in my own world, just playing the melody over and over and over. And then Luis Resto said, "Dun, dun, dun, dun." He figured it out and he started playing it. And then, everybody kind of joined in. We didn't know what we were doing. And Don looked up like, "What are y'all doing?" And I just went and grabbed my tape and
Yeah.
tape that bit. And then, months later, that was I never forgot it because I said I always kept playing that melody. That's when I came up with the song, and that's like this is for Tiny because this is like I was staring at him from the stage, like playing this melody, thinking about when we used to play with Real Galaxy and all that kind of stuff. So
And you yourself, I mentioned at the front of our chat, all of the legends that you've had a chance, to work with over the years, including Bob Dylan and the Rolling Stones and Iggy Pop and so many others. And you've always been influenced by other musics as well. In fact, you've made 2 volumes of the music of the Grateful Dead for the Blue Note record label. And
Oh
we
yeah.
don't get by with this record without hearing one of my favorite Grateful Dead tunes. And that's a tune entitled The
The
Wheel.
wheel.
Wheels turning, you can't slow down.
No.
Can't let go, you can't hold on, you can't go back, and you can't stand still. You know, if the thunder don't get you, the lightning
The
will.
lightning wheel.
That's
That's a
kind of like
serious
life,
lyric.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's a serious lyric. Yeah.
Now, you never recorded with the Grateful Dead, did you?
Not at all. I didn't really know a lot about them, except for I would just look at them and go, what do they got? What do they have that's grabbing people? Well, of course, I heard, I knew the songs that they were known for, but I didn't know what it was about until Don was coming to Detroit with the Wolf Brothers, the trio, a version of the Wolf Brothers in the beginning. And he said, Dave, you want to play? I was like, heck yeah. And he's like, okay, well, listen to these songs. I don't know anything what he's going to ask you, so I don't know what you're going to play on, but just listen to this music. And when I picked, so I grabbed, I didn't realize it, but once, if you go Eyes of the World, you're going to find 1,000 versions of it. So I started just listening, and I was just amazed. I was like, I don't get it. I don't really know what it is, but I kind of immersed myself in it. And then within a couple of days, it just kind of hit me like, bing, wait a minute. These guys are improvising. Wait a minute. They're doing like weather report. They know where they're at. They're taking their way to get there. I'm like, I love this. I mean, I just kind of got into it after that.
Well, when you
Mm.
when you figure, the Grateful Dead, one of the original jam bands, if you will, uh,
That's what it
and
was.
and
Yeah.
and their ability to improvise day in, day out on the same tunes and make them so different day in, day out.
Different
Was that
every
was
time.
that an attraction for you? And
That
what
was the
else?
attraction. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't, like the thing, you have a standard form, you play the intro, then you go to the verse. They play the intro and then they might take a solo and then they'll go to the verse and then it'll go somewhere else and then it'll go to they did what they wanted to do. They'd add weird time signatures, like odd things that if you are a listener, if you're not paying attention, it just go right on by because it feels good. Because that's the magic of it. It feels great. But then if you dissect it, it's all this intricate things going on,
And all these
and
all these intricacies, indeed, like on the title track, "I Love Life Even When I'm Hurting." You'll hear David on soprano saxophone, but also kind of playing alongside himself on the Roland AE10 with Don Was and Louis Resto, and it makes it sound like there's a front line, like there's an ensemble out front, right? There's a front line playing out there.
oh, cool. Because I mean, I feel the bass clarinet, so I was like, okay, then they put some bass clarinet, and then it's like, well, I hear this other thing, and then pretty soon it was that, it was what it was, but it felt the track itself, the guys in the studio when we recorded it was kind of magical when it came out. So I just, the whole trick was not to mess it up at that point,
Was that was a lot of the were a lot of the tracks one take and let's keep
Now
going
we,
here?
we we would go like one, two, maybe three takes, but it would always be by the second take. I go, whoa, that's it. I think we got it. And then they go, well, let's try it again because I did this or whatever. And then in my mind, I go, that's the track already. I mean, you already feel what happened, and some of them just was like when we did the wheel, when we finished, it was like, wow. I mean, you didn't even, we got to the end, it was like, that was every version is different. It's like when we were recording it. So that when we got to that one, everybody kind of was like looking like, what are you going to say? And I was like, that feels great. And then everybody got
Yeah.
excited,
And sounds
Yeah.
great too. We're not only talking about your versatility, but one of the things that just sparkles for me on this record is the versatility of keyboardist Louis Resto. He brings so
Yes.
many different sounds to the table, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he does. He was always like that. When he was a kid, he would his what he would be doing and what everybody else was doing, what everybody's over here, trying to play like Herbie Hancock, and then he'd be over here like John Cage and Joe Zawinul and over here doing some things that were incredible. But you could fit it into funk. You know
Absolutely.
what he was doing. You know, it would fit, and he wasn't locked in. He's still that way now. He's always searching. I mean, every take is something different. He'll lock into a different sound, and then you go, well, oh, that's great too. Okay, let's go with
I
that.
tell you, man, it's a collective feel and a collective endeavor that just sparkles. I love life, even when I'm hurting. Dave McMurray. And in 2018, when you visited me in the morning at WBGO and performed live,
Yeah.
Music is Life, when you left and went back to Detroit, I noticed, ooh, he left his Tigers hat.
Oh, that's funny.
And that
Yeah.
was the hippest looking Tigers hat I'd ever
Right. Yeah.
seen.
That's
And I
funny.
almost kept it, but I didn't. I
Right.
tracked him down, got his home
Yep.
address,
Yep. You
and
did.
sent the hat back to him. So
Yep.
we know that Dave McMurray is a Tigers fan. What else
Oh,
do you like
for
to
sure.
do? What else do you like to do when you're not playing music?
It's funny. I'm kind of like music, anything creative I do. So I write, poetry, I paint, I do anything that I can do that's creative. And then watch sports. Of course, I'm a Pistons fan, so
How about
in
a Lions
football,
fan? Lions,
that's
Lions.
gonna say. I do that, and the funny part is like when Detroit gets knocked out, I'm like, okay, well, that's it.
Well,
You know,
I moved to New York from Cleveland, so you can feel for me, man.
oh
Because
yeah,
when I
oh
was a
yeah.
kid, when we moved from Detroit to Cleveland, they had the Browns with Jim Brown.
Cleveland
They
Browns,
had the
yeah.
Indians with Bob Feller and Minnie Minoso, and oh man, come
That was
on!
it. That was it. Jim Brown. I mean, looking at that, I see old videos of that and going, yeah, Cleveland Browns. That can't
But
be.
see, all my relatives live up in Michigan, and so I'd go up there and we'd listen to the Tigers games,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Al Kaline and Harvey Keene, and
yeah,
and
yeah.
who
That's my
and I
dad.
want to say
That's my
not
dad. Yeah.
Ernie, not was it Ernie Harwell that called the
Ernie
games?
Harwell. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, for years too. I mean, he went for years. I mean, and he would be perfect. I mean, he was like the voice of the Tigers.
yeah, exactly.
He was the voice.
We're
Yeah.
we're chatting with Dave McMurray and his voice, the choice, along with Don Was and the Pan Detroit Ensemble, coming to the Blue Note in New
Yes.
York
Yeah.
City on January the 12th. You don't want to miss that. And the new recording on Blue Note, our new day, new play for the upcoming week. I love life, even when I'm hurting. And folks,
Yeah.
here's a recommendation for you. If you're hurting, put this on.
Ah,
Put this on and
I
listen to
like
it
to hear that.
because it's a sparkler, man. It's a good one. And Dave McMurray, I want to thank you for spending some time with us today.
Oh man, I appreciate you. Yep, I was hoping I'd see you. Well, I got to see you live, in person.
Well,
Yeah.
January the 12th, I might be down
Okay.
there in the
That's what
audience,
I was gonna
man,
say. I'm gonna look for you. Yep, for sure.
because I remember how spectacular that night up in Woodstock was. So I'm looking for a repeat coming.
Oh
And
yeah,
what,
we
New
got
York?
got a couple of new ideas and stuff too.
Oh, okay.
It's formed. It's formed a little more, so it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna
Well,
be for
if
sure.
you see or listen to the Pan Detroit Ensemble, there's always something percolating.
Yeah, yeah.
Not just on the front burner, but on the back burner too.
Yeah, 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 that's for sure. That's for sure. So, so hey, I'm gonna look for you.
Thank you for you today, man. I appreciate it once again. I love life, even when I'm hurting. Dave McMurray, a new recording on Blue Note, and our guest here on WBGO. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks. Peace.